Welcome back to the Restricted Handling Podcasts. What's coming up next week in the world? I'm your host, and as always, we're looking at what's on deck. Not guesses, not vibes, just what's scheduled, locked, and loaded across the global security landscape for the week ahead, January 25th through the 31st. Buckle up, because the world stage isn't taking a coffee break. We start Sunday in Egypt, where it's the anniversary of the 2011 revolution. You know, the one that took out Mubarak and had Cairo sounding like the season finale of a political thriller. The government, in a move that's more about crowd control than calendar accuracy, shifted the public holiday to Thursday to try and keep protests from popping. But security forces will be out in full. We remember 2011 mode, just in case. Nothing like a little overcompensation to remind everyone who's still in charge. Monday at the UN, Somalia's president is stepping up to chair a high-level debate on the rule of law. It's part of the UN's 80th birthday year, so expect a lot of talk about peace, justice, and multilateralism, with all the teeth of a Hallmark card. The big dogs will be in the room, though, so worth keeping an eye on how they frame legal norms while also sidestepping their own violations. On Tuesday, we pause for International Holocaust Remembrance Day, marking 81 years since Auschwitz was liberated. This is a serious moment with ceremonies worldwide. The UN General Assembly holds its formal commemoration, and if history's any guide, we'll hear sharp reminders about the dangers of forgetting. And maybe, just maybe, a few not-so-subtle nods to modern parallels. Because apparently, history repeats faster than Hollywood rebooting Spider-Man. Also on Tuesday, New Delhi hosts the EU-India Summit. Big economic vibes here. The EU's trying to lock in a free trade agreement, and India's rolling out the red carpet. It's also a chance for the EU to try and nudge India off the fence when it comes to, you guessed it, Russia. But don't expect any hard pivots. Delhi likes its strategic ambiguity, like a Marvel post-credit scene, open-ended and dripping with potential. Now, Wednesday's a doubleheader. First, the U.S. Federal Reserve delivers its first interest rate decision of the year. Chairman Jerome Powell will be in the hot seat, parsing every syllable to avoid tanking markets while keeping inflation watchers from lighting their hair on fire. And yes, global markets are listening, including folks in Moscow and Beijing who'd rather the dollar stayed tame while they plot, well, whatever it is they're plotting this week. Also Wednesday, the U.S. Senate hosts Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Yeah, the same Rubio who used to grill secretaries, now he's the one getting grilled. It's a Venezuela hearing, and there's heat on the Hill about whether the administration is getting too close to military involvement there. Expect Rubio to tap dance around it while dropping phrases like consulting Congress and strategic clarity. It's political theater, but with real consequences if things escalate. Still on Wednesday, the UN Security Council holds its quarterly debate on the Middle East. Expect big talk about Gaza, Iran, and the usual flashpoints. Veteran watchers know the drill. Lots of diplomatic wordplay, but don't hold your breath for resolutions. With the US, Russia, and China all on the council, it's less get things done and more try not to start World War III in public. Thursday, Brussels is the place to be. The EU Foreign Affairs Council meets to hash out positions on Ukraine, the Middle East, and the chaos spilling out of Africa's Great Lakes region. Ukraine's foreign minister is dialing in because Russia's still doing what it does best, refusing to leave places it wasn't invited. We're likely to hear strong words and reaffirmations of support, plus maybe some movement on sanctions enforcement. Also Thursday, EU foreign ministers meet with Morocco. It's the first high-level EU-Morocco sit-down since relations got icy, and it's all about trade, migration, and counter-terror work. But don't expect any deep dives into Western Sahara. That issue's going to get dodged harder than accountability in a Soviet-era 5-year plan. Now, let's flip to the watch list. These aren't scheduled, but you'll want to keep them on radar. First, Ukraine peace talks. Sources say the deal's down to one issue, which could mean we're close or about to hit a wall. If it breaks, expect the battlefield to heat up fast, especially with winter in full swing. Second, Trump's Board of Peace. Concept is floating out there like a cross between the Avengers and a very loud mediation circle. Russia and others are circling it, curious, or opportunistic. It's too soon to tell, but it's making the UN a little nervous. Third, the New START treaty expires the following week, and unless there's a surprise miracle, the US and Russia will enter February without any nuclear arms limits for the first time in decades. Not ideal when Moscow's nostalgia for the Cold War seems to be in full bloom. Finally, North Korea may be cooking up a surprise Workers' Party Congress. No date set, but the regime's been holding quiet, high-level meetings. These congresses are where they unveil big stuff. Think missiles, leadership shakeups, or bizarre new slogans. Classic DPRK. That's the week ahead. Scheduled, confirmed, and locked in. No speculation, no fluff. We'll catch you next time on the Restricted Handling Podcast. Stay sharp.